Welcome to my world of alcohol. I'm going to spend the next 5-10 minutes introducing you to the noble arts of getting drunk, having a buzz, enjoying alcohol, taking you through from beers. We've got here a McEwan's Champion, a real ale, through to spirits, champagnes, fine wines. So from a £2.50 bottle to bottles costing thousands. This is an introduction to the art of getting drunk with style, enjoying alcohol and staying healthy. That's what I tell myself. But I believe I've got a good few years yet. So cheers. So, to open the innings, as I said, McEwan's Champion. I'll be honest, I'm not actually a beer man. These days, I've been a vendor of fine wines and champagnes. I've actually made a business out of it. But I have the odd beer. And for me, one of my maxims in life is you can't beat quality. So this Champion, it tastes strong. It is strong. It's 7.3% volume. And yeah, it's got a champion's taste. So I recommend. I won't be spending too much time on beers, but at the same time, there may not be that many of you who can afford to spend thousands on a bottle. So in order not to lose part of my audience, whatever it may be, I'm going to seek an inclusive approach. So I start with the beers. I started many moons ago. I've always gone for strong alcohol, and many moons ago, in the 70s, I started off on barley wine, Stingo, and I then graduated to Gold Label, which is about 7-8%. Like this is 7.3. I also, back in those days, in my youth, drank Tennent's Super Lager and Special Brew, always in search of a buzz. But time's flown by, and coming up to the noughties, the 21st century, this first YouTube chat will be 5-10 minutes, so it'll just be an introduction. So I started off with beers and barley wines, and actually, to show my age, at the early 70s there was alcohol like Scotsmack that you get for 19 shillings, and I'd sneak a bottle of that into a club down my trouser front, I have to say. That was 1972. In 2015, I'll be able to introduce you to, here we have some spirits. I'll be introducing you across the board. Here we have Ardbeg. This particular single Islay malt has won many best whisky in the world. It's won about 7 out of the last 10 years, best whisky in the world. That's Ardbeg. This is an exceptionally fine Dalwhinnie, 15 years old, but a special centenary edition, not to be confused with a normal 15-year-old Dalwhinnie. Gorgeous. This, one of my favourite cognacs, Hennessy Black. If you can't find hold of it, find anywhere that sells it. I'll be putting up links and a blog site, and I'll be able to point you towards. This I prefer to the XOs, and it's less than half the price. It is a stonkingly good bottle of cognac. This, for the younger crowd, for the clubbing crowd, this is a cream liqueur. It's vodka based. I've been told it's by Pharrell, the musician, and for my kids, they love this sort of thing. It's good fun. From Hennessy Black to Hennessy Pure White, about the only cognac I know that's made to be poured over ice. Last time I checked, I'm the only one in the world that's stocking this. Not easy to find. Drop me a line. A superb cognac. Here we have Kaufmann. Kaufmann make the only vintage vodka in the world. This is a 2003 vintage. Remy Martin White, an acquired taste. Winner, best bourbon in the world, again about 7 out of the last 10 years. Pappy Van Winkle. Oh my days. Oh, superb. Sticking with the bourbon family, look at this baby. Special edition JD. I've got many varieties of JD, but this is one of my favourites. Words cannot be described. You have to be here. You have to experience. This I've been drinking today, Mammont, a vodka. A little bit like Grey Goose, but very, very different. Some might say an acquired taste. Some might say neat alcohol. I've been enjoying that today. To finish, for today's introduction, we're going towards the higher end now. Whiskies, I started off in fine spirits about 10-12 years ago, and my introduction to the high end is a fairly famous cognac. It's what the Pope drinks, it was Winston Churchill's favourite tipple, it's what any self-respecting dictator or president, when they take over the keys to the country and they've got the coffers to the country, the first thing they do is send for a crate of this. Louis XIII. The empty bottle is valued at about £300–400. That's when it's empty. The price of this these days starts between 1800 to 2000. That's for a new bottle, this year's vintage. A vintage like this, 34 years old, will be well north of £2,000. A neighbour of mine, I introduced her to this, and she took it, and she did that 3 or 4 times, and she said, sex in a bottle. And she's in the industry. She wholesales alcohol, and she'd never seen or heard or sniffed this. The stuff of kings. Finally, if you want to get real serious with your alcohol, the cognacs drop off at about £7,000–8,000. For £8,000, you'll get this in a black crystal. This is finest crystal. You'll get this in a black crystal for about £8,000, and you'll get Hennessy Ellipse for about the same money. After that, you get into the whiskies.